What is up, guys? Rick Hackis here, going over the Jewel of Osiris Adept hand cannon in Destiny. Now, the Jewel of Osiris is the Trials of Osiris hand cannon. The Adept version is acquired from opening this special chest unlocked on Mercury for going 9-0 on your Trials of Osiris ticket. Opening this chest can give you a random Trials of Osiris primary that spawns with a random element. Mine happens to be Arc, yours might not be. Now let's start off the review by going over the stats of the Jewel of Osiris. Now this gun is incredibly average in terms of the base statistics. Rate of fire and impact are among the most commons in hand cannons. Bungie copies and pastes gun stats all the time, and you'll see that when I compare it here with the Fatebringer. It's literally the exact same gun with a little bit less magazine and a little bit less reload in terms of the base statistics. Some hand cannons shoot a little bit slower and do more damage, like the Ill Will and the Teamer's Lash. And then some do more, like the Thorn here. You can see it has a little bit higher rate of fire, but lower impact. But that doesn't matter much. We all know about the Thorn, guys. Anyways, the Jewel of Osiris, let's move on to the perks, because those explain this weapon a lot more than the very average stats. Again, these stats are average, but like I said, Bungie really copies and pastes these stats a lot. So although these are average, that also means they aren't below average, which is really good. Now the stats of this weapon, there's 3 different sites. And it comes down a lot of it to personal preference. The sure shot I have heard has better target acquisition. See superb target acquisition, so it makes the hitbox a little bit bigger. So that's why I like to roll with. Icarus is very interesting. Improved accuracy while airborne. Now, don't get me wrong, I have been in scenarios where I've been jumping in the air and I've been able to kill someone with Icarus. That's all great. But I still think that this could have been a better perk. I mean, certainly you're going to spend most of your engagements and most of your time in a Crucible match grounded. So Icarus isn't bad, but it could be a lot better, let's be honest. Then the second choice of 3 have Snapshot, makes it aim faster. Flared Magwell increases the reload, but I definitely run with Perfect Balance. Perfect Balance is definitely the choice for the Crucible, and it's because it lets that stability really increase in order to get multiple shots with this weapon. Lastly, Third Eye is a great Crucible perk, and it lets you aim down sights but still have your radar. That is an absolutely awesome thing for this gun. Now let's move on to the Jewel of Osiris's performance in PvP. Now first off, the Jewel of Osiris does 86 damage for a headshot and 57 damage for a body shot. So, like most of the non-exotic hand cannons, the Jewel of Osiris is capable of a 3-shot headshot. The thing the Jewel of Osiris has going for it is it has pretty good perks. Again, Icarus definitely could be better, but that stability, the Perfect Balance, makes this gun actually pretty potent in the Crucible. You can really nail those 3 shots off in a row because the stability is very good because of the Perfect Balance perk. I actually enjoyed my time testing the Jewel of Osiris and found it pretty effective as a primary. That being said, no matter how highly skilled you are, it's going to happen where you're going to go into the Crucible, get 2-shot by a Thorn, and while he's cowering behind a corner waiting for you to die and going in the Bungie forums talking about how the Thorn is totally not overpowered, you sit there and you die and there's nothing you can do about it. No matter even if you outshoot the guy, and that's just because your rate of fire isn't as high as the Thorn's, and the impact, I mean, it has higher impact, but you don't have that damage over time. Hawkmoon as well, you're going to be outshot by Hawkmoons all the time. However, that same scenario plays out no matter which gun you're using, so it's not the Jewel of Osiris's fault. No, I personally would not use the Jewel of Osiris in Trials of Osiris if I was trying to be really competitive, because it's just blatantly worse than the exotic hand cannons. But again, this gun is still potent. It's still quite good. You still, especially if you're very talented, can outshoot people. If they miss with the Thorn, you can get the advantage over them with the Jewel of Osiris, and it is a legendary. So maybe you want to use your Galahorn, maybe you want to use your Lord of Wolves. It actually frees up your exotic slot to use on something other than a primary exotic hand cannon, but it still lets you use a very potent and powerful hand cannon. Now let's move on to the Jewel of Osiris's performance in PvE. Well, certainly the factor that this is an Adept version helps it a lot. I've said this in other videos, but I'm just going to reiterate that The elemental versions of weapons are always incredibly superior in PvE. Now that's simply because there's no lessened damage when you're shooting an enemy with the wrong shield. Here's what I mean. I have my Arc Jewel of Osiris, and if I shoot an enemy with a solar shield like a wizard, it's going to do the exact same damage as if I would have shot that wizard's shield with a kinetic weapon. So there's no downside at all to using an elemental weapon, but when you fight an enemy with the right shield, like a fallen captain, and I can get that arc bonus damage, there's only upside. Aside from the elemental factor of the Jewel of Osiris Adept version, however, I really don't like this weapon in PvE. That's just because both of the perks, Icarus and Third Eye, just do not lend themselves to PvP play. Hand cannons are really helped in PvE when they have area of effect perks like Firefly or Explosive Rounds, both of which are on the Fatebringer, which is considered the best PvE hand cannon. That's simply because the hand cannons have relatively slower rate of fires. They do a lot of damage, but again, lower magazines, slower rate of fires. It means that they aren't that great when you're being charged at by a bunch of thralls, unless they have like explosive damage or, you know, Fatebringer Firefly, so they can just kill them all in one shot. The Jewel of Osiris doesn't have either of these. Third Eye isn't that amazing. It's not terrible, but certainly not that amazing in PvE, and neither is Icarus. Both of these could be definitely a lot better for PvE play. So in PvE, I am not a fan of Jewel of Osiris. It's a very average hand cannon in PvE because you're not going to be making use of the perks very often. And the element really depends. It could be one of your most used guns in the game, or, I got mine in Arc and I already have a 365 Fatebringer. So the Jewel of Osiris just will not come out for me. It just will not get used except for in PvP play. So depending on the element it spawns at for you, it could be one of your most used guns in the game if you don't have any Void weapons, for example, and you get a Jewel in Void, or it could be, like me, never going to be used. So in summary, the Jewel of Osiris is a very powerful hand cannon. No, it's not as good as the exotic hand cannons in PvE, but honestly, which gun is? Even that said, it does hold its own. The insane stability caused by the Perfect Balance perk means that you are able to get those 3-shot headshots pretty consistently, and if you're a skilled player, can outshoot a lot of the guns in the game. Now in PvE, the elemental effect certainly does help its performance, however this still remains a pretty average overall hand cannon in PvE simply because its perks do not lend itself to PvE play. That's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. Doing so will let you see Destiny content similar to this. My Twitch channel and Twitter are both linked in the description of this video. So check out my Twitter if you want to get in touch with me, and check out my Twitch if you want to see my ramblings live. Again, I hope you enjoy, and as always, have a good day.